people. It is Thursday again, and I want to welcome you into the live today. Give you just a sec there to kind of catch up with me. We had been, hi people, hi Sally, Linda, Kathy, lovely to see your faces. Let me know what everyone's up to today. What are you knitting on? What's your weather like? How's the mood? I'd like to, just give me a little insight into what's going on in your life today. We had a very hectic couple of weeks, as everyone probably knows. We had our 15-year birthday celebration that finished last weekend. Well, it kind of ran on till Monday because we had a couple more pattern reveals. It was a lot of fun, very, very intensive. Particularly Hannah and Nadia, who are working on social media, are kind of wiped out at this point. So we're playing catch up after such a couple of intensive weeks. But thank you all so much for celebrating with us. I am a terrible one to celebrate. I leave birthdays run. I just kind of ignore it. So it made it extra special to be able to celebrate a anniversary of the business. In fact, when people were coming in, people I know, other businesses close by, other businesses I work with, dropping in flowers or goodies to give away, I felt like it should have been my birthday. It felt as special, if not more so actually, than an actual birthday celebration because it was with other people. Linda, you've got a 3-ply wool cardigan on your knit master. Ooh, sounds exciting. There's Liz, and we've got a bunch of other people in there as well. Someone's getting ready. Oh, the bee's knees, you're getting ready to kill some more cancer cells today. You bring your knitting with you. Best of luck. Knitting definitely is good. Something simple so that I know my dad's brain would be kind of fried. So simple books, simple knitting is good. Elsa Louise, lovely in Toronto, 9 degrees Celsius and sunny. Liz, you enjoyed the few weeks. You're missing it this week. I know we're a little low-key. At least we have our Celtic Knits launch today. That's, of course, what I want to reveal, which a lot of you have seen it already, but maybe if you haven't opened up your emails, you're going to knit up, you're not aware that the next installment of the Celtic Knits Club came out today. Not my pattern this time. This one is Laura's pattern. I should really be dragging her up here, but she's going on holidays at the end of the week, so she's playing catch up right now, or rather not so much catch up, get ahead. So I will leave her in peace and I will tell you all about the amazing cowl that she designed. I feel very fortunate to actually be doing the videos for all of the Celtic Knits Club because it means that I know all of the patterns fairly intimately because I've kind of been working through them with each stitch pattern and doing repeats of them as I'm doing it in videos. So it's a very nice way to get to know the patterns. So without any further ado, let me reveal the cowl. It is the Cape Clear Cowl, and it is an infinity cowl, and it is just lovely. It's in the Deas Yarn, so anyone who's in the club has been knitting with the Deas already, and it's really nice because it's a merino and mohair blend, 14% mohair, and it is got, because it's woolen spun, it's very light. So the cables are big and chunky and it should be heavy, but the finished piece is light and it's airy feeling and it doesn't have any dent, it doesn't have that real weight that you're going to expect. So it makes it very comfortable to wear. So the way the cowl is constructed is you've got a provisional cast on, lots of different ways of doing provisional cast on. The one that she opted for in this was the invisible cast on. Main reason being that it is, once you get the hang of it, it is fast to do and all of the stitches are actually on the waste yarn. Benefit of that being when you come back and you want to join it in the end, they're there. You don't have to go unpicking anything or putting them on and try to get them on the needle from there. They're just sitting there. You just slip them on and take the waste yarn off. So it's a lovely one to come back to. The cables, you can see you've got like a diamond shaped cable that opens up in the middle, and then it alternates with the other one here where it goes narrower and wider. So same cable but staggered so that you create this really interesting cowl as you go across. And I love this feature because I haven't done this in a design before, but it works really nicely on the cowl. The fact that you've got a cable right on each end here means that it doesn't curl. It's like it actually creates a nice selvage and non-curling edge, but it's very much in fitting with the rest of it. So you're just repeating the same one around and you're working it flat. And because of that, we're actually able to give a load of different options in the pattern with the same one pattern. Because of course this is seamless and it is got the provisional cast on at the start and then grafting directions, so that, here I should turn it around and see if you can see where it starts and ends, and the likelihood is you won't, because it's a seamless graft. So you will learn how to do that in the pattern. If that scares the living daylights out of you, you can of course do either a seam or you can do a 3-needle bind off, but I would encourage you to give the grafting a go, because the end product is so nice that it is well worth trying it out. But I'm a little bit strange, believe it or not. I love grafting. I didn't when I started, but once I got used to creating the tension with it, I just love how it looks, and the fact that you'll have a knitter will go and will poke around and they literally won't be able to see where the start and the end of the knit is. Now, because it is done from side to side, there is also variation in the pattern for a scarf. So instead of starting with an invisible cast on, there is a seed stitch suggested starting, and then you can finish with a seed stitch and just create a scarf. The other thing you can do, this is obviously a double length one, so you can wrap it twice and you've got a lovely big double cozy cowl to put on. This is probably my favorite way to wear cowls. I really love when it's wrapped double like this. If you like short cowls, because of how it's constructed, you just do less repeats. You just make it the size of your head and you'll actually get 2 or 3 cowls out of the yarn, because there is enough yarn to be able to do that with it. So side to side gives you all of these options, and it's all written within the same pattern. I'm just watching through here. I don't think, if you have any questions in relation to it already, you may not have, because I know it's just come out, but take a look through, and if you do have any questions, pop them up here. I'll put you can add them to the comments afterwards. Or if you are in the Cable Club, the Celtic Knits Club, tomorrow 4 o'clock Irish time, we're going to have a Zoom, because we're just sneaking it in before Laura heads off on holidays. We're going to have the launch of this, where Laura, in her own words tomorrow, will talk to you about the cowl, how it's fit together. If anyone needs to see like a demo of anything or different ways of doing the cables or how she likes to do them, we can do all of that tomorrow in the Zoom. So you'll get a little bit more in depth, but make sure you register. You'll have gotten, the link is up on Knit Hub, and you'll also have gotten it out in the email as well, or the update. I would have sent it out to you. So make sure you've got, you pop those in. Now you will see as well that you don't quite use all 3 skeins of yarn that you got. So it came with 3, and this uses about 2.5, give or take, depending on your gauge. And I suspect you may actually even have enough to do an extra pair of the Inishmore mitts, possibly, if you want, our fingerless mitts. Or if you were doing a shorter cowl, you might be able to squeeze a 3rd short little cowl in, so you've got a small bit more yarn to play with. Now the 2 colours that would have come with, this is the one here, is Roan, which I think that is one of my favourite colours in the club. I just think that's just so pretty. And this is also equally nice, but I think the 2 together, that's probably got my heart. But this is Heather. There's hints of the burgundy, like similar to the Blosta yarn, but you can see as well here, there's quite a lot of depth of colour. You've got little flecks of blue and pink, and the same with this one. I think there's blues, there's small little bits of greens in there. So they're very rich colours with a lot of depth and nuance to them, really, is the best way to put it. So if you're newer to cables and you have not done cables without a cable needle, or even some of the slightly different cables where you've got 3 stitches going on, in the teachable workshops I demo how to do all of them. Anything that can be done without a cable needle, I will also show you how to do that. So I give like a variation on how to do the different ones. You'll also find the chart. I've put the chart in as a downloadable PDF. So if you want to print that out and blow it up a little larger, you can do that as well, and just print that section out as you're going. So there's a load of different things that you can do within Teachable that gives you a little bit more control, because that's actually my favorite. When I'm doing charts, I will always just print them out separately so I can scribble over them or mark them up. Or if you use Knit Companion or something like that to do it digitally in an iPad, then you can use that to kind of send it out in just in a larger format to be able to see it a bit bigger. The other thing that has been very busy this week is, of course, our Holly Blue Knit Along. There's some fantastic chats going on and people kind of figuring out their sizing and changing back and forth. And there was one thing that came up that I thought I would just talk a small bit about. People were measuring the neckline and looking at their gauge and things like that, which is great. If you were getting a bit confused in relation to the size of the neck relative to the size of the gauge, if it's coming out a bit bigger, there are a few reasons for that. Well, first of all, check your gauge. Measure the gauge of your garment. If that is correct, then I wouldn't worry about the neck size if it's not looking quite right for you. Main reason why you might be getting a bit of variation is when you cast on the neck, the cast on isn't always a very accurate measurement because it can stretch out very often. It doesn't always hold the shape, which is actually why I do a neck edging afterwards to get it to give it a bit more grip. But also almost immediately after you do the cast on, you do an increase round. It's like it's right up there on the top, which means that when you're measuring the neck edge, you're in all likelihood measuring just below where the increases were happening as well, rather than actually the size of the neck, which is just those stitches that you're going to be taking for the neck edging afterwards. So do not be too worried if you think that the neck edging looks, or the neck opening looks too big for you. Go by your gauge. The gauge is what is going to be critical. The gauge is what's going to be important. And if that is accurate, that means your bust size will be correct and the neck will be okay, because we're coming back to it afterwards. And you can drop down a needle size. You can do a wider, edging on the neck. For that matter, you could even do decreases. So there's loads and loads of ways to kind of just tweak the neck size. Right now, the gauge and the bust size is what's most important for this part. So that when we finish clue 1, which is going to be just to this part, you'll try it on. You know that it's deep enough, not too deep, but just deep enough for your body size. And then we're going to go divide our sleeves. Once the sleeve divide happens, if your gauge is a little off, if it's too tight, perhaps you want more stitches under your arm. If it's too loose, perhaps a little less. But gauge is king for this, and that's because it's the bust size we want. So just to reassure anybody who is getting a little bit worried about the neck size. But if you're curious, the Knit Hub forums, they are open to be able to look at. You can't post unless you log in, but you can pop in and kind of take a look through to see how people are getting on and what they're getting up to and all of that good stuff. So do pop in if you're working on it mainly solo and you want a little bit more support, or you want to see if the question that you want to ask has already been asked. It may already be up there. So for the next couple of weeks now, we are going to be playing I was going to say catch up, but actually I should say get ahead to try, and we're going to have, of course, next week on Tuesday, the Galway blanket has got the very first part is coming out. So 3 of the blanket squares will come out with the general overview of the project. I am really excited about that, but that is next week, and I will tell you all about that next week, and there'll be Zooms in relation to that for anyone who's involved in the project. So that'll be next week, and then the end of the week we've got the Holly Blue Knit Along is going to have clue 2 will be coming out. So there's another whole week of Holly Blue coming out. There's some very fast knitters on there, so you'll see that they're flying through, but don't let it put you under pressure. It's you just take your time, go at your own pace and enjoy the project, because there's no point flying through it if you're not getting any enjoyment out of it. The whole reason we knit is to enjoy the knitting process. So if trying to pick up speed and feel like you're having a bit of a race with it is putting stress under you, just take a step back, knit at your own pace and enjoy the process is the best thing I can say to you. Because it is not about the speed. It's about the pleasure we're getting from the process, because that's why we're knitting. Otherwise, you'd walk into a shop and you get a sweater. So just go at the pace that is comfortable to you and enjoy what you're doing. Pop up any questions you've got, and yeah, have fun with it. When I'm designing, most of the time I'm having a lot of fun, unless something isn't working and I'm on a time constraint. That's less fun. But if I have got an open schedule and something is working the way I envision in my head, then I just sit back and enjoy the knitting process. So please enjoy your knitting, and I will see you next Thursday. If there's anything you would like me to answer or any questions you have for me, just pop them up in the comments under here and I'll do my best to get to them. Thank you very much everyone for joining me.